Hello all, and welcome to Chreos Gaming. I am starting the story playthrough of Creeper World 3. I have completed a story playthrough, of Creeper World and Creeper World 2. I had played Creeper World 3, played through the story, found it interesting, and then when Creeper World 1 and 2 were released as their anniversary editions, I picked those up as well. And with Creeper World 4, under development, I wanted to do story playthroughs of both games just to have them, one, fresh in my mind again, and two, so that they were available so anybody who's interested in the Creeper World series could kind of, one, see what gameplay is like, and two, also see what the plot behind them was. It is not a deep or detailed plot, but I did find it interesting. And just so you know, this is going to be a bit of an extended intro, so I will put a link to where the gameplay actually starts, or at least where the introduction to the story and gameplay starts, in the description, so that you have the ability to jump forward to that if you have watched those two already. So, that being said, in Creeper World, the basic premise is that humanity expands into the stars, but after doing so, this stuff that comes to be known as the Creeper attacks a world, takes it over, destroys all life and everything living on that world, including technology and these kind of things, and it just does this to all of the human worlds, and humanity is wiped out and left with only one city. And that city is set up so that it can travel interplanetary through the use of basically portals. And the mission for each of the missions in Creeper World 1 was to activate totems so that the portal would appear and the city would move to that and then jump to the next world. And so throughout this, there's two characters primarily. You have Commander, who is not given a name, and Ops, and they're just the representation that you have of the people on this city. The only named character is introduced near the end, and at first is introduced only as a name, and that is Platius. And then later on, the commander reveals that Platius was the name of the individual who saved him when he was a baby, and then disappeared. But someone else encountered Platius, I think it was that or the old man. They used both of those designations for what you think is different people to start with. But then at the end, the commander goes on what is going to be a suicide mission to destroy a portal that is open to a black hole. But Platius rescues him from that and then returns him to the city. But before he returns him to the city, we learn that Platius is a very old, very powerful being that watched humans develop and nudged them towards getting into space. So at the end of Creeper World, you destroy a Creeper Nexus, but Platius gives the impression that there is more to come. He says he will have need of the commander in the future. Creeper World 2 occurs 30 years after those events. And now the commander is given a name, and he's promoted to Admiral. So now he is Admiral Abraxis. And in Creeper World 2, the main character that you are representing is Dax Joven. And it turns out that Dax is a romantic interest of Admiral Abraxis' daughter, Aliana. And again, the Creeper is the primary threat, but it seems like humanity has found ways to start dealing with the Creeper. Aliana has created a means to destroy Creeper emitters called, I'm going to forget the name of it again, that's fine. But basically, there's technology that can destroy Creeper emitters now. But we learned that the Creeper is being controlled by a race of beings called the Styglek, but there is a rogue component of the Styglek that is trying to break free of the control of another race called the Loki. And the Loki were ancient enemies of the race that Platius was a member of. And so the Loki are either part of the creeper, created the creeper, or the Loki turned into the creeper. That's kind of unclear in how it's described in Creeper World 1. But the Styglac have the ability to manipulate the creeper, and that's kind of their main goal there. And so but what they're trying to do is create another creeper nexus. And you get to the end of the game there, and you discover that they succeed in creating the nexus. You succeed in being able to destroy the nexus, and they have a neat little prologue. No, prologue is beforehand. They have a, whatever the wrap-up phrase would be. I'm currently, epilogue, there we go. They have a neat epilogue that's in text that goes through each of the main characters that were in and what they did. And in the epilogue for Admiral Abraxis, it mentions that there is a recording of a discussion he has with Platius. And Platius tells him that he has need of him again, and that he's going to take him with him, and that he will not be able to return. So Admiral Abraxis is now taken out again. And one of the common themes from Creeper World 1 that is still present in Creeper World 2 is the idea of things being directed. The Styglac, the consortium, makes claims specifically of trying to direct events towards their ends. But sometimes that seems retroactive. Like they say, well, we meant for this to happen type thing. But there's also these little, there's things scattered throughout the levels where, you know, this shouldn't be this way, but it ends up working that way anyway. And that was a big theme in Creeper World 1. It's more underlying in Creeper World 2, less explicit. At one point, Dax Joven actually mentions an old friend potentially entering the fray, and I think that was a reference to Platius. And so that theme kind of continued there, and then I'm expecting, to my memory, that theme continues in Creeper World 3. So what we have now is, last we saw, Admiral Abraxis was pulled out of place, and we're not told where he's taken. So that's kind of the plot. As far as gameplay goes, Creeper World was a top-down real-time strategy game in which you had resource management and units that you had to build using your resources, but your enemy was primarily the creeper, which is just this mass that is kind of liquid-like, and so it grows in level, and then there's terrain that it can flow over and that kind of thing. In Creeper World 2, they went from a top-down view to a side view, and that allowed for different dynamics of movement, restrictions based on terrain, those kind of things. I preferred the top-down view, and so I was happy when I saw that Creeper World 3 went back to the top-down view. Both still involved resource management and creation of units, and in Creeper World 1 there were what were they called? Spores that would come in from off screen. In Creeper World 2, instead of spores, they had phantoms, which were produced by the technology of the Styglac. And so both of those served basically the same function, which was a ranged way of getting Creeper to a position that is behind your defenses if you weren't watching for it. You were given defenses that could combat that, though. So now we're going to move into Creeper World 3, which has moved back into the top-down view. It has also moved into a return to this sort of galaxy map style menu, which I greatly preferred to the style that was present in Creeper World 2, which was more the basic menu that looks kind of like a mobile game, where you've got the squares that indicate what your level is on and that kind of thing. Alright, so Arc Eternal is the story mode. That's where we're going to move into. And unfortunately, I have beat this, and there's no way to reset your playthrough. So I'm going to have to kind of go through steps to get the exposition that is there but we will do that now. So I may have been wrong about not being able to restart. I clicked on a reset missions option, and this happened. So let's see what this does. It brings me in here, which there had been a preview. Oh, hey, I have a zoom option. Cool. All right, so we will... Oh, hey, there's a replay intro option. Orbiting planets? Yeah, that just stops them spinning. Okay. So, I'm going to replay the intro. The arc of the moral universe is long, but bends toward justice. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., 20th century, 1st CE, Earth. Knuckle Cracker presents Creeper World 3, Arc Eternal. By the year 13271 in the First Common Era, humans had spread into a great galactic empire. All they had achieved ended when the Creeper arrived. Thousands of worlds were destroyed by an unknown enemy, yet a small group of less than 50,000 humans survived. Their impossible journey ended in the destruction of the enemy nexus and the founding of a new soul-human colony. 30 years later, the enemy returned. Yet again, humanity held back the darkness. A peace that would endure for many millennia was created, but like all things crafted by human hands, it was not to last. Again and again, the Creeper would return. Eons would pass between each culling. Empires would rise and fall, each more brilliant than the last. But no matter how great humanity became, it would always succumb. Through it all, one man slept. His journey on the first great exodus was not to be his last. Guarded and watched over for billions of years, his time to awaken has come. Now, when the last of the great humans' empires has slipped away into the night, the sleeper awakens. And so we awaken. Okay, so let's check archived transmissions. The games have regularly used this style for exposition and the processing of information. Scars, wake up. Scars. Commander Skarsgard Abraxis. Abraxis says, where? What? Wait a minute. Who are you? I'll keep the ship's lights very low. You have slept for a very long time. My name is Leah. I don't know any Leah. The last thing I remember is Platius laughing and saying, Fortuna fevet fatius. Where am I? Where is Platius? And who are you? Slowly. Platius created me shortly after he placed you in suspended animation. I was your guardian for the eons that passed. I have watched over and protected you for many cycles. I am part of this ship we are on. We have been in orbit around the stable singularity for many eons, hiding from all that transpired. Just how many eons? It is difficult to measure because of the expansion of space, the rift space cataclysm, variations in various cosmological constants. Quit stalling, just a round figure. Over 5 billion Earth standard years. My gods, why? Answer me, why? I'm sorry, Scars. All I know is that now is when I was to awaken you. I and this ship are now at your disposal. My only instructions from this point forward are to follow your commands. None of this makes any sense, or even seems possible, but I long ago abandoned the concept of impossible. So let's take a look. Ship sensors indicate we are no longer orbiting a singularity. Correct. I warped the ship to a nearby star system to begin the reactivation process. Unfortunately, there appears to be a warp inhibitor in this system, so we are stuck here till you do something about it. Warp? Inhibitor? Move the ship to Tempus, the world without a shield, then launch ground activities. I'll explain more once there. Alright, so we're orbiting there, we could show the sector map, but for now we're going to go to Tempus as instructed, and we will start. In Creeper World, there was no ability to save. Here there will be. Excellent. This world should suffice for demonstrating the core capabilities of the ship. There's a creeper emitter here. Yes, I'm afraid so. Much has happened while you slept. Dozens of human civilizations rose and fell, each trying ever more desperate measures as the creeper would always return. The last whispers of the final civilization haven't been heard in many thousands of years. As far as my sensors can ascertain, only ruins remain. Why was I forced to sleep through this all, only to waken to utter desolation? Strange, this world seems to contain some manner of pod. Technological remnants are rare, so I would investigate. Follow the ship's automated assistance system and acquire that pod. Alright, so we select a command node from the menu below and land it in the gray area in the upper left corner of the map. Oh, note, if necessary, you may move the map with right mouse arrow keys or WSAD keys. You may zoom the map with mouse wheel or Q and Z keys. Good to know. So you want me to drop up there? Really don't want... Oh, it's running. Okay, hold on. Now build collectors and connect them to the command node. Spread them out for maximum energy collection. The more green you see, the more energy you produce. Build 10 collectors. I can do that. Oops, I did not mean to do that. And let's start moving this way. Try to anyway. Because I need to get down here to be able to acquire stuff, and I'm not sure how many collectors I have, but I will just keep building them because I need the, well, I don't know, I probably don't need the energy, but in Creeper World 1, one of the things I like doing was just trying to produce as much green as possible. So I will keep this up until I have hit the 10 mark and it asks me to do something new. Weapons are required for destroying the creeper. Be careful not to overbuild and exceed your energy production. Build 3 pulse cannons now. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, those will start building now, so I can keep going. Whoops, nope. Keep going back to collectors to build just as much as I can, and then when the cannons build, it will start the next section. Alright. So this is very similar to the other tutorials. Impressive. Now spread your network and defeat the blue creeper emitter. You will need to build a nullifier near the emitter to destroy it. Also, don't forget to connect your network to the pod behind the emitter. Okay, so I now have these cannons, and cannons are mobile, which is a big part of the game's functionality and being successful in missions. So I need to get an emitter, or a nullifier close to the emitter, which is going to require getting other things close to the emitter. Actually, what is the range on the nullifiers? Alright, so I need to destroy this, because I can get the nullifier there. Once that builds, it can destroy that. Come up here so that I can try and get my network connected. Move your pulse cannons in close to the creeper and surround it. Make sure they remain connected to your network so they can be resupplied with ammo. When possible, build a nullifier near the emitter to destroy it. Working on it. That would be the point. Alright, so now I should... Alright. So it doesn't really matter, but I don't like building connections to cannons because they can move, and I don't want to lose a connection when it's important. So yellow is build packets, red is ammunition, and then I don't know if there will be other colors or not. Collected, Carcier shield key. Okay, so it's gonna work on destroying that, and while it's doing that, so pausing the game will, alright, claim victory. So it took me 3 minutes 45 seconds because I did not pause it. If I'd paused it, that countdown would be slower, but I was trying to stay with real time. Right, so we will claim the victory, and then do that, and submit the score. And 345, yeah, as you can see, other people have done it in considerably less time, which is fine. Alright, continue. So I'm not necessarily shield around Corsair Lord, fly there and engage ground operations. So I'm not necessarily after the fastest playthrough. I'm just interested in the plot and that kind of thing. But that is success in Tempus and starting the game. Next time we will move on to Corsair. Thanks all. Hello all, and thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please click the like button below. You can also subscribe using the channel image in the center of the video. If you are interested in more content in this video series, to the left is a link to the full playlist. Alternatively, when it is available, to the right will be a link to the next video in the series. Thanks all.